Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for watching the East West live football podcast, right? Today I'm gonna host it down. Today I got Kendall with me. It's our special guest today. We got Chris Broussard. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Chris, good
How you guys
morning.
doing?
What's going on,
Good.
Chris?
Yourself.
I'm good, fellas. I'm excited about being on.
Thank you so much. So normally when we have a guest on, we usually do a round of applause. So let me go ahead and give you a round of applause. All right.
Yeah,
Chris,
that's
so
that's nice. That's nice to come on to. Gets me hyped.
hey man, you have been you've been one of the most polarizing sports journalists sports media in general for a while now. I think I remember you most with the ESPN days. But if you can just kind of tell us a little bit about that. I mean, now you're with FS1, and you've been able to do a couple of great things. But how's that transition been for you personally, professionally?
It's been great. I went to Fox Sports 1 in 2016 from ESPN, and it's been more than I could actually hope for, to be honest. I've made the move because ESPN wanted to keep me in a strictly reporting role as an
Mhm.
NBA reporter. And Fox Sports One wanted me more as a personality, commentator, opinionist. And as you see, that's what I become at Fox Sports One. I have my own national radio show, The Odd Couple, along with my co-host Rob Parker. I didn't have a radio show at ESPN. I filled in at times for Stephen A. Smith, Mike and Mike in the morning, but I didn't have the opportunity to get my own show. And then television, I'm a co-host now, First Things First, Monday through Fridays. And again, that's an opportunity that I didn't get at ESPN. I was on, I filled in a lot. I went against Skip Bayless on First Take a lot back in the day and did all the other shows. But as far as having my own show, this was my first opportunity. So it's been great. The shows are going well, and I couldn't be happier with the move.
Hey man, and you've been putting out some really good content too. On the you work with Rob Barker, but you've been recently with Veely, right? If I'm not mistaken.
VJ Husky.
He, yes.
Well,
I'm
he
sorry.
fills in when Rob's off. He's one of the guys that'll fill in. Ephraim Salam, George Reister, Rob Guerra, who's our producer for the Odd Couple, and VJ. Those are some of the guys. Aaron Torres. Those are some of the guys that have filled in for Rob. So VJ, he tries to make the most of his opportunities. So we have fun.
Well, let's talk about that, man. Because you've had a couple takes. I believe you guys talked about the Raiders, right? The
Right.
Raiders have added they have a new coaching staff. They've added some talent on offense and defense. Uh, are you still standing with the placement? And if you could just share where you feel they're going to fall in that very tough AFC West division.
Yeah, I never said they were going to be third in the division. I was on First Things First, and we had a question where we asked, what's more likely? Who's
Yeah.
more likely to exceed expectations? And for the Raiders, the expectations were 8.5 wins. And for the Jacksonville Jaguars, it was 6.5. So I said the Raiders were more likely, in large part because I'm not a believer in the Jags, although I do like Trevor Lawrence. And I think there's a possibility, there's a chance that the Raiders could finish third in that division. I mean, everybody looks at it and they seem to be behind, the other three teams. I like Kansas City best in the division. I'm a big Patrick Mahomes fan. It may not seem like it because I'm not as overboard as Nick Wright is with the Chiefs, but I do love Patrick Mahomes. I think I was the first one or one of the first ones nationally to say that I think he had GOAT potential. Now, I wasn't saying he's the GOAT already or anything like that, but I think he's got GOAT potential. But obviously, he's going to have to, play it out and win a lot of championships. I don't think he has to win 7, but he has to win probably at least 5 and have numbers that are through the roof, to challenge Tom Brady. But and then I'm a big Russell Wilson fan, Mr. Unlimited, I believe. So I think he's going to go to Denver. Tim Patrick, that injury hurts, but they still, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, nice running back core. Obviously, the defense is tough. And Wilson is a leader, and I think he's going to get that chance to shine. So I think that Denver's going to be the second best team in the division. And then I think the Raiders and Chargers will kind of fight it out for that third spot. I like Justin Herbert a lot. Brandon Staley, I think, is solid, but, I think a lot of his, he's going to have to tamper down that fourth down, his fourth down stuff when he's going for it all the time, So you have there's a happy medium between never going for it and just going for it all the time, So, but yeah, I think that those two teams will battle for that third spot. And what I say is I wouldn't be surprised. I'm giving the Raiders a chance to take it from the Chargers.
Well, speaking of, right, we got Fidel chiming in. This is his prediction, and I guess he wants it to be known, right? 11-win season coming up for the Raiders. So, I mean,
11 is going to be tough. I do think that division is going to have 3 teams. I think,
okay.
And then I think the South will have 1. And then the North and East are going to have to battle to see which team has 2. I think the Dolphins could be the second team in the East. Obviously, Buffalo, I think, is going to be the first. And then in the North will be interesting. Cleveland, obviously, we'll have to see what happens with Deshaun Watson. But,
yes.
Pittsburgh will be down. Cincinnati, it's going to be interesting. You don't automatically get back to the playoffs just because you went to the Super Bowl and lost. So, and then Baltimore, I'm expecting Lamar to play well, but I'm not expecting him to go back to his MVP form of 3 years ago. So we'll see. But it's going to be, the AFC is legit. But yeah, the AFC West is one of the best divisions we've seen in a long time. So 11, I think 11 is kind of ambitious. But hey, if you're a Raiders fan, I think they might get 10. So why not go for 11 if you think they can get 10?
Yeah. I mean, early projections, I had them either anywhere from that 8 to 11 win kind of season.
Right.
11 does seem kind of ambitious though. But I mean, that's how we've always known Fidel, man. He's Raiders all the way through, and with them, he's almost like he's a part of that Raider Nation that it's almost like the Cowboys. Every year is their year. So, but transitioning, right? You did mention a team that you also talked about recently, the Dolphins, right? And there's a lot of steam, growing up. I mean, they've been able to add a big time name on the offseason, and we're talking about Tyreek Hill. Overall, it's Tua's third year, and he has all the pieces in place. Do you feel that they could succeed the Patriots in that division?
Oh, I think they're better than the Patriots. They're not better than Buffalo, but I think they're the second best team in that division. And Tua, look, we'll see what he can do. If he's a good quarterback, this will be his year because he's got everything he needs. The offensive line has improved. You mentioned Tyreek Hill. They added. Obviously, they already had Jalen Waddle. They got a host of running backs now. Gesicki is a good tight end, and the defense is legit. And you got a coach. I think Mike McDaniel coming under Kyle Shanahan for 5 years. I think McDaniel is going to be, he seems to be, you never know what a guy's going to be as a head coach, even if he was a great coordinator. But McDaniel seems to be a guy that, you think would be very imaginative and creative and good offensively. And he seems to believe in Tua. So Tua has everything he could hope for. And so if he doesn't deliver, then he's just a bust. But I think I'm not saying he's going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the league, but I do think he's got talent. He's very accurate, certainly with the underneath stuff. And now, he's got a few guys that can turn small, short passes into huge gains. And, we'll see if he can throw the deep ball, because he's obviously got a deep threat now. But I think the Dolphins could be strong. And here's the thing about Tua. He went 13-8 as a starter. His accuracy was solid. And he was I thought he was okay for a guy that had the worst offensive line in football. So people are, well, he was getting rid of the ball. Well, yeah, of course he was, because the pressure was coming, He didn't have a ton of weapons, and he had a coach that didn't believe in him, Brian Flores. And so I thought under those circumstances, he did okay. So now the tables have turned, everything's in his favor. If he doesn't deliver, it's on him. And I will say, if he don't deliver, it's his fault. But I think he'll be solid. I think he can throw for $4,000. And because he's got the weapons, so we'll see.
Well, the Dolphin fans, right? The whole pack, they gotta hope that this is the year, because I mean, we saw what they lost in the offseason. They lost a first-round pick and a fourth-round pick for the tampering. So
right.
So this is a big year for Tua. Kendall, what do you? I mean, I know you had to chime in. This is your division, Kendall.
Yeah, Chris, I agree with you. I think the Dolphins are better than my Patriots. I know you can see I'm a Patriots fan behind me. They're much better than my Patriots. I believe in Tua. I know a lot of people don't, but I do believe in him. But I want to transition a little bit to basketball and talk about the Kevin Durant latest news. What do you think he'll get traded to, and when do you think something's going to happen?
Ooh.
Yes, it's interesting. I mean, it does seem like I believe that he was not going to get traded. Obviously, that's still a possibility. But with his ultimatum, saying Sean Marks and Steve Nash or him, and then you saw the tweet from the owner, Joe Tsai, that he backs up his coach and GM. It's going to be interesting because, again, first of all, the market for Durant was not what he expected, right? Teams aren't ready to break up their core for him. And this latest news is not going to help him. One thing GMs do, they want to win, but maybe even more than they want to win, they want to keep their job. And so Durant is a guy that wasn't, happy in Oklahoma City, had everything going for him in Golden State. Obviously, he got some criticism because the team was so stacked without him. But still, things were going in his favor. And to be honest, after they lost to Toronto without him, had he come back the following year and helped them win the championship, or he wouldn't have even played that year, right? Because he had the Achilles. So the year after that, like let's just say Durant was on the team this year in Golden State and they won the championship. All that talk about them not needing Durant and they won it without him, that would have been gone. Because it would have been like we saw him lose to Cleveland up 3-1 without Durant. We saw him lose to Toronto without Durant. And now he leads them back to another championship. All the talk about Steph Curry being top 10 would have been about Kevin Durant being top 10. And so he was in a great situation and he wasn't happy there. So GMs are looking at it like, okay, he's a great player. But if I bring him in and he's not happy, the Nets have given him what he wants. And if he comes here and he's not happy and he's going to be pointing at me, I'm really not trying to bring that in, especially when I can't guarantee we're going to win a championship. So I don't think this helps his trade value. So it's going to be interesting. Look, if I were the Nets, I know they've tried this year. Their whole offseason has been about regaining control of the franchise. Not letting KD and Kyrie run things. Well, look, they put their foot down with Kyrie. He only signed a 1-year deal. That was good. I got to be honest, man. You win in this league with superstars. I would, at the very least, if I'm Joe Tsai, I know he doesn't want to give Durant the power, but I would get a new coach. I would get rid of Steve Nash because Nash hasn't really done a good job anyway. All right. Sean Marks, I'll probably try to talk with Durant about, look, we'll get rid of Nash, but not Marks. And I'm not saying Marks is great, but I just don't know that you want to give a guy that much control. Now, look, the Nets can play hardball and say, dude, if you want to play, and my demeanor, I would play hardball. Mm-hmm. I would go to the owner and be like, look, let's not trade. If this dude because this is what Pat Riley did with LeBron and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. When they wanted, I'm not sure if Wade, but the other two were not high on Eric Spoelstra. And a lot of the team wasn't. And Pat Riley said, look, LeBron and others, if you're going to win, it's going to be with this guy, with Eric Spoelstra. Now, if you want to lollygag and you don't want to play hard and you want to pout because you don't think he's the coach for you, do it. And waste your career. He didn't say all that, but I'm just, it's implied. You can waste your season. Pressure's on you, not me. If you're going to win, it's going to be here with Eric Spoelstra. And the rest is history. And Joe Tsai could do that. He could do that with the Nets, at least this year. He could be like, look, KD, you're going to be 34 in September. You've been injured the better part of the last 3 years. You played 90 games in the last 3 years. You're closer to the end than you are to the beginning. We tried to trade you. Nobody was willing to give up what you're worth. So if you want to sit out and waste this season, I can sit out. I'm a billionaire. All right. This is a hobby for me, dude. I'm not going to kowtow to you. All right. He could do that if he wanted. That's the type of personality I have. We paying you all this money and you played 90 games for us. And I'll give you a new coach because I don't think Nash has done a great job. But you're not going to get a new GM. And again, not because Sean Marks is Jerry West, but just because, I don't want to necessarily give you all that power. And so, but we'll see. Look, a lot of players have a lot of power. It's going to be interesting, man. I will say this, if I'm the Nets, I'm still not trading Durant for
Jaylen Brown, probably
pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
For pennies on. I mean, I don't know that I'd do that. We'll see what the real offer is, but if I'm gonna trade him to Boston, I'm gonna have to get the better part of the deal because Boston is in there, not only in their conference but in their division. Mm-hmm. All right, Boston is the team that fleeced them 9 years ago for, when they traded for Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett and got all those draft picks. And that's what's put Boston into contender status today. So I'm not going to let them rob us again. Give them a championship. Give them Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum. Come on. So, we'll see what kind of backbone the Nets have. But I don't think I would have put that tweet out if I'm Joe Tsai. GMs and coaches don't win. I mean, coach is important, but still, they're both important. But superstar players are what win in this league and keep you relevant. And so it's going to be real interesting.
We have somebody chiming in. They want to say hi real quick. Got Jay in the Bay. So this is a big time 49ers YouTuber. It says, what's good? East West
Jay in
crew.
the Bay is his name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
What's up,
Hey,
man?
hey, he goes, y'all got a legend on today, man. Hey, he kept on going too, man. The emoji signs and look, Chris Broussard and Rob Parker show is the goats. And he also wants to chime in. KD should stay in Brooklyn. He wasn't happy when he rings with the Warriors. KD will never be happy.
He should stay in
What's
Brooklyn. I mean, real talk. He needs to look in the mirror and say, I got outplayed by Jason Tatum.
Ooh.
Point.
Well, Chris,
I
that's
know
some great deep insight.
Steve Nash didn't put him in positions necessarily to best positions to succeed. But y'all, KD and Kyrie have to take some responsibility.
Oh yeah.
And understand that they thought we can go ISO all the time. Can't nobody stop us. Well, we found out differently, right? Because they stopped both of y'all for the most part. So, I just KD has got to take responsibility, and he should stay in Brooklyn, because I will say this: if he got traded to Golden State, or if he got traded to Boston and they were able to keep Jason Tatum and several of their good role players, he would have a better chance of winning a championship then than he does in Brooklyn. But outside of that, there's really nowhere realistically he could go to have a better chance to win. Now, I don't think Brooklyn will win it because of their mentalities. They don't have the intangibles. Ben Simmons, we don't know where he's at mentally. Kyrie, is unpredictable. And KD is showing you right now he ain't a leader. And so, and he's not willing to look in the mirror and say, I got to get better. And so those are the things that keep you from winning championships. So they'd be good. They'd be a contender, but I don't think they win a championship. But hey, it's a business. And I'd like to be good and a contender and relevant and on national TV and sexy and all that. And that's what they be with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving.
So
Not Sean Marks and Steve Nash and a bunch of role players. All right.
Walter Stringer says, why won't the Nets just do things organically? Which is a great question, I think.
What does he mean organically?
I believe it's more like team building. Like, why don't you just start building from the bottom up?
Man, look. All right, that's nice to say. All right, but Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving told the Nets 3 years ago, we're coming. It had nothing to do with the coach. It had nothing to do with the GM. They wanted to go. What team is turning that down?
No one.
Let's keep it real.
No one is turning that down.
And you win with superstars. There have been 2 teams in the last 40 some odd years to win a championship without a superstar. Seattle Supersonics in 1979.
Wow.
And the Detroit Pistons in 2004. That's it.
Yeah.
So all this team building people, I've seen people say, oh, we were better off with Dinwiddie and Karis LeVert and that crew that played hard. Okay, that's nice, but their ceiling was second round. Ceiling. And I get it. The Nets have only gotten to the second round with Durant, but they've been hurt. Right? They've been banged up, or Kyrie wasn't playing because of the vaccination, which impacted him in the first round because he wasn't, the chemistry wasn't there. And so that's what I say to KD. He hasn't given it a chance. Right. And as good as he is, as good as Kyrie is, as good as Ben Simmons is, if his mind is right, and as good as their role players are, as role players, you don't sell yourself short, man. Give it a chance. Don't sell yourself short. You're better than that. Be the man and say, well, what we got, with what I got to rock with, we can win it.
Right. Wow, Chris, that's some great deep insight on the Kevin Durant situation. Lastly, before we get you out of here, I want to talk about your King Summit. I had a chance to meet you in Charlotte with a great event down in Charlotte. When's the next one? And just tell the crowd a little bit about your event.
Yeah, the King Movement is a national men's movement organization. We're trying to strengthen men to be great husbands, fathers, leaders, citizens, role models in their community. We're a faith-based organization. And the summit is just a national conference. and we have speakers that deal with issues from finances to sex to Black history to all types of stuff, all types of issues that are important and pertinent to men. So our next one, you went to the one, Kendall. It was great to meet you there in Charlotte. Our next one will be the weekend of March 10th and 11th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It'll start that Thursday night, which I think might be the 9th. It'll start that Thursday and then go into Sunday church service. But it's a great time, Kendall. You can speak to that. It's great fellowship, brothers coming together for positive purposes to help build up themselves to be better men and to help build up their families and their communities to be better and stronger men. So that's what we need in this day and age. And I just keep it real. It's a lot of crazy notions out there about what manhood is about, or is not. All right. And so it's important to really, set a standard for what true manhood is about. And that's what we do at the King Summit.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, Chris.
Chris, right before I let you off, I had said I want to talk about the devaluation of the running back position, because that's something you talked about. I think it's a good topic. So before I let you go, I just kind of want to get some, a little bit of feedback on that. I'm a Cowboy fan, obviously you could tell, right, with my apparel and and whatnot. But yeah, it looks like, it looks like Jerry Jones has put the ball in Zeke's hands now, and this is he says it needs to get back on him. But why do you think that do you think it's maybe the success of maybe what you've seen with Kyle Shanahan has been able to do with any running back? Do you think that's maybe more of the reason why the devaluation of the running back has been? We've been seeing that in the NFL as of late?
I think there are a lot of reasons. I think number one, the rules have changed to benefit the passing game, right?
True.
If you look now, at the numbers that the quarterbacks put up compared to legends, Roger Staubach, Terry Bradshaw, even Joe Montana, Brett Favre. Look at their numbers back in the day compared to these guys today. And you would think those dudes didn't know what they were doing. Some of them, the interceptions were very close to how many touchdowns they had career-wise. Everybody ripped Jameis Winston the year he had 33 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. Brett Favre did that a lot, and he's a legend,
Yeah.
But the reason is not because those guys weren't great quarterbacks. It's because you could get hit. You could hit the quarterback back then, and you could hit the receivers, and so the passing game was much tougher back then. I know things have gotten more sophisticated in a lot of ways, and these quarterbacks are really good today. But my point is the rules have changed to protect the quarterback and protect the receivers and benefit the offense and benefit the passing game. So that's one thing. Secondly, always having a great running back. A lot of times a great running back has, even as he's great, and maybe he's been the workhorse, you still have also had a really good quarterback, if not great quarterback with him, or, defense, receivers. Like building a team around the running back, I don't know that works. I mean, O.J. Simpson played one playoff game.
True.
He's one of the best running backs ever. Eric Dickerson never won a Super Bowl. As great, he might be the greatest running back ever. I think there's an argument for him. Jim Brown won it in a little bit of a different day, in the 60s. Barry Sanders never won one playoff game. Played in 6, but won one. So these are some of the absolutely best. Now, Emmitt Smith, yes, he did win a Super Bowl, but they were a stacked team. Walter Payton won a Super Bowl later in his career and was great that year, but most of his career he was the workhorse on a bad team, and he was awesome, but they weren't a very good team. So I think some of that thinking, and I think analytics. While I love to see the workhorse, I love seeing a Derrick Henry and a Jonathan Taylor, guys who are going to get the ball 20 plus times a game and maybe break one. There's nothing in football more beautiful than the 60-yard scamper from a running back, but most teams, and I think analytics may tell them, look, well, I won't put it this on analytics in this regard, but a lot of times some of the best backs might not be great receivers. And so on third down, they're bringing in a scat back who's a little better at catching the ball, and now you don't have as many 3 down backs. And so all of those things have conspired to, I think, take away from the value of a great running back. And I'm going to be honest, as much as I love a great running back, I do feel like if I were building a team, like I thought the Giants were out of their minds for drafting Saquon Barkley as high as they did. And it wasn't that he wasn't good. And obviously he's had some injury issues and all that. We'll see what he turns into. But it was just like a running back in the day's game that high is ridiculous. And I really, as much as I love a Derrick Henry, a Jonathan Taylor, a Nick Chubb, I know that if I've got a really good line, if I've got a passing game, like those would be my priorities. If I have those things in place, and even if you want to say a defense, I can get a running back that's going to be productive. I mean, really, Kareem Hunt was drafted when? 3rd round, I believe.
Yes.
Alvin Kamara, I believe, 3rd round. Like I can find a great a guy. If I got the line and I got the other threats, it's a lot of brothers out there with speed and some moves, and I mean, I can get one. And so I think all of that goes into the devaluation of the running back.
Not to mention the Deebo Samuels now, right, that are stepping in as wide receivers that can do all these.
Yeah,
crazy...
I mean, Deebo is unique. I don't want to say that that's going to become a pattern. We'll see. It might, but I don't think so. He's unique. We've always seen reverses and things like that, but he's actually a guy that can run up the middle and stuff. I think Deebo Samuel is one of the best, and I know it's early, so he'll have to live it out or walk it out, play it out, whatever. He's one of the best football players in the league. Football players.
Yes.
And there's a difference. Like I push back against the notion that Tom Brady's the best football player ever. Because I think he's the best quarterback ever. He's the greatest quarterback. But I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm old school. When I think of football player, I don't think of a dude running a 5.4 40 or whatever he ran, 5.6, 5.2, whatever it was. If you, I don't know if you guys played football, but if you put guys through a gauntlet of training, they had to block, they had to tackle, they had to sprint, they had to catch, they had to throw, football. You would never come away if you watched all these guys go through all that. Oklahoma, I know they can't do the Oklahoma drill anymore, but stuff like that.
Yeah.
You would never say Tom Brady is the best one of those guys. You might say a Lawrence Taylor. You might say a Jerry Rice. You might say a Jim Brown. You might say an Aaron Donald even. But Micah Parsons got a long way to go too. But I'm just saying, football. I actually think the quarterback position has become so different and so protected that it should be treated like pitching in baseball. And so you have the Cy Young Award for the best pitcher. Then you have your MVP. Now, maybe it'll be a pitcher every now and then. But for the most part, it's for the baseball players. It's not for the guy that can pitch. And that's how I'm starting to view quarterback. It should be a quarterback award. Call it the Johnny Unitas Award, the Peyton Manning Award, whatever you want to call it. And then the real football players, I say that tongue in cheek, but give an MVP to one of those dudes because it's so different now. But there's no way I'm saying Tom Brady's the greatest football player ever. But because of his achievements and he's the best quarterback, you're gonna rank him fairly high. But football player, I would put some of these other guys ahead of him.
Chris, this is truly.
I'm giving y'all bonus tracks, man.
I'll tell you this much right now. This is one of the most memorable live podcasts that we've ever done. The traction that we've gotten so much. I mean, look. Let's look at some of the interaction that we've gotten from our audience. Look at this. Okay. So they've never done anything organically. They sold a small village, a small country for D-Will, KG, and the Truth. Right? I guess they're referring to. I guess they're referring to the Celtics, right?
Well, look, the greatest. They were organic before KD and Kyrie got there. He's right. When they went and added around D-Will and with KG and Pierce and all that, Joe Johnson. But think about it, the best outside of the ABA with Dr. J, the best run that franchise has ever had was by trading for Jason Kidd. Now Kerry Kittles, Keith Van Horn, and Kenyon Martin were organic, but they weren't very good with Stephon Marbury. Once they went and they traded for Jay Kidd. So I don't know if he thinks that's organic or not, but
yeah,
look, there's different ways to build. There's nothing wrong with organic, but if you can get superstars in the NBA, man, you do it. I don't blame them for taking KD and Kyrie. Come on, everybody would have done that.
No, yeah, for sure. Somebody showed us Walt gave us some love for your King, the King group. Jay in the Bay, he says
we'll look for you at the summit in Philadelphia in March.
Jay in the Bay says there's only one Debo. He says 49ers love drafting running backs on day 3, and no doubt running back position is devalued. History has shown it's not a good idea to sign a workhorse running back. A second lucrative contract extension. Look at Zeke, McCaffrey, etc. I think they're all key points. And then that's true. The early 2000 net. So, man, we got a lot of traction today, Chris. I just want to say thank you so much. I know that we can find you on FS1. But is there anywhere else where people can go, maybe to get more information on the King, or just to stay in touch with you? What's your social media accounts?
Yeah, well, if anybody, I do speaking around the country, colleges, churches, corporations, whatever it may be. If you're interested in having me come in as a speaker, you can go to Chris Broussard Speaks, chrisbroussardspeaks.com and book me. For information, my Instagram is Chris Broussard68. My Twitter is Chris_Broussard. If you want to learn more about the King Movement, you can go to kingmovement.com, www.kingmovement.com, or you can email us at king@kingmovement.com. And that's how you can find out more about the organization and me. So I appreciate y'all time, man. Y'all keep up the good work. Patriots, Cowboys, I will say this. Y'all need some new team.
Hey, Chris, tell Nick.
I mean, Kendall, look, Kendall's had a run that could carry him for the rest of his life. So I get that. My man, look, I know there are a whole generation of young people growing up like, why in the world are the Cowboys America's team? Like, what? Like, what? This makes no sense. Like, really, like they think we're crazy for entertaining the Cowboys like this. And I remember them. I know why they are. And I remember I was a big Steelers fan as a kid. And the Cowboys were their rival. But I remember how great the Cowboys were with Staubach and Dorsett and Drew Pearson and Hollywood Henderson and Too Tall Jones and so on and so forth. And then, of course, the 90s run. But since then, my man, it's been ugly. And Jerry's the issue.
I think it's actually,
but he's the issue. He turns it into a soap opera.
I think it's Stephen Jones, but Jerry's the face. Yes.
Well, they drafted talent. Stephen Jones is drafted talent. Jerry is too. See, Jerry's problem is he wants the credit.
Mm-hmm.
He would rather.
Right.
He when they were winning with Jimmy Johnson's crew, and Jerry wasn't getting all the credit, he was upset. He didn't want it, right?
You're absolutely right.
He would rather. I don't want to say he'd rather lose, but he wants to. He's not going to remove himself and hire football people to do the football things and stay out of it. And here's the thing. This is the ironic part about Jerry ruining his franchise, turning him into a drama, a soap opera. They're not a football franchise. They're a drama. They're a soap opera. They are like Bull Durham. They're like a drama that is set in football. But the story ain't really about the football. It's about the drama. You know what I'm saying? Bull Durham wasn't really about baseball. It was about the drama. You know, and that's what he's turned him into. And here's the sad thing. If he would just step back, let some other guys handle it, not talk every week, just chill, be in the booth, you know, in the loge during games, but don't talk after every game, don't talk every week on the radio, and they won, guess who would get credit? Jerry.
Jerry.
Robert Kraft gets credit. Kraft gets credit. The Rooneys get credit, right? You know, you don't need to be Genie. Jerry Buss got credit for the Lakers. He wasn't talking all the time. If you're the owner, you're going to get the credit. Ultimate, you might not get the lion's share, but people are going to credit you and look at you as a great owner. But that's not enough for Jerry. So pick a new team, my man.
Hey, Chris. Hey, tell Nick to lay off my Patriots, man. He be giving us a hard time.
Look, man, I've said this before. I don't know where you're at on this, but there's been talk. Who was more responsible, Brady or Belichick? And I'll give you Belichick. I think you probably got to call him the GOAT coach, and he did a lot with Tom Brady. Don't get me wrong. He helped develop Brady when he was younger, and those defenses were great. And, you know, he did a great job with him. But if you have to pick which one deserves more of the credit, it's clearly Brady. Belichick's coached 8 years in the NFL without Tom Brady. Made the playoffs twice. All right? Twice. And so that's all I'm saying. The proof is in the pudding. So we'll see. I mean, I don't like them not having an offensive coordinator. I don't like them putting stuff in the hands of Matt Patricia.
And it's not looking good so far in training camp.
No, I mean, what is that? So, you know.
I heard Matt Patricia.
Pick a new team. You pick a new team too. Nah, I'm just messing with you. Like I said, you've eaten enough. You full enough to go through the next 12 years of fasting, which is what you probably gonna do. You know.
Well,
all right, fellas, I enjoyed it, man. Y'all keep up the good work.
And that actually that does it for us. So thank you all for tuning in. Until